And in color from DFW International Airport in Texas, it's Runway DFW, your new YouTube channel for exciting airport action from one of the world's busiest airports. Okay, I sound a little exasperated. Almost had a disaster there while we were resetting up. This is our second broadcast of the day, for those of you who were not here for our morning activities. I'm adjusting the camera a little bit here. Our tripod, as I was setting up, I put the camera on the tripod and the wind knocked it over. Fortunately, it landed on the grass, so I think things are working okay. But it took me a little longer to set up than I had been anticipating. And unfortunately, because of all this wind, it may be that this is not as steady of a presentation as I would like. So let me see if I can get rid of that. Oh, you know what I need to do. I need to take that off. Say happy. Is it going to focus now? Uh-oh. Maybe I was too quick to speak. That is not looking good. Okay, you're going to see a pause while I turn the camera off for a second. So hang on. I think you'll still see a background. Oh, you'll see some color bars. We're still here. Here's the thing, it's really, really windy today. It was windy this morning, but I don't know, I'm just going to say gusts are probably in the 30 plus range. I've been out here when it's windy before, but not like this. So let's see if we can get our camera back. Let's see if it will focus. Looking like it. Well, we'll try an arrival, shall we? On Runway DFW. Thank you for bearing with us. You never know what's going to happen. So I do have a nice solid tripod, but I'm weighing it down with one of my computer bags now, and the computer I usually use that's right underneath is now on the ground, so it doesn't get blown away, or if it does, it won't fall very far. So please excuse our kind of erratic nature of this so far. It's as though we're in a wind tunnel. We're going to watch American Airlines Flight 3222 coming in from Harlingen. It's a Mitsubishi CRJ 701ER. And let me see if I can zero in on that for y'all. On this St. Patrick's Day. It's just after noon here. I think we got some storms in the forecast for later today. And this is kind of the credit for that. Say hello to some of the folks who are checking in. Carly Koskinen from Oakville, Ontario in Canada. Waters, your analysis of the meteorological conditions here is, I would say, understated. Dwayne checks in saying the National Weather Service has a high winds gust in the area at noon of 43 miles an hour. I'll go with that. Underwater or earthquake? Well, it's neither one, but it does seem that kind of way. Well, let's check in on a flight coming in from Wichita. It's an Embraer 145. It's American Eagle Flight 3988 on runway DFW, the St. Patrick's Day edition. I'm definitely not having the luck of the Irish here. Toby, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Waters is checking in from across the pond, check with his first Guinness of the evening. Abbas saying it's a lovely day in the Metroplex. I was going to say lovely if you're a kite. I don't think you could even control a kite under these conditions. But I do have to say that in spite of that, we do have some brave plane spotters out here at DFW Founders Plaza checking out the conditions. And you're looking in the background there at the UPS cargo facility, from which we were happy to see a 747 and a MD-11 lift off this morning. We're going to take a look over on the east side for an arrival. Because why not zoom in all the way when everything is so unstable? You it's not usually this shaky here. That was American Eagle Flight 4023 coming in from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hoo-wee. Welcome to a windy runway DFW. Carly saying probably a lot of turbulence on takeoffs and landings today. Yeah, we're going to probably focus on landings because we've got a good view of the planes coming in. The problem is whether I'll be able to maintain my grip on the controls as they make their arrivals, but we'll do our best. Kind of like that, right? And if I didn't say where this is coming from, I apologize. how the landing goes here. Seen worse. Okay, so if you're just checking in, what time is it? 12:16. We were supposed to be on about 16 minutes ago. We were several. I put the stream up, but then I had a hard time getting everything connected because of the way everything's blowing away. There's a gigantic American flag. You can see how big it is in relationship to that radar tower. And it is just starched. Thank you, Scott. Wishing everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day on this green edition of Runway DFW. If you're just tuning in, that happened. If you're just tuning in, I may wind up in Oklahoma by the time this is finished. I've battened down the hatches as best I can. But the problem is there's no shelter here at DFW Founders Plaza. The last time it was this windy, I was able to park behind my vehicle with a hatchback and then kind of use that as a windbreak. And it worked kind of well, although it spoiled our shot a little bit because I couldn't get out here on the grassy area. I've got a floppy hat on, which is secured by a string, so my hat should stay on. We've got a Viva Aerobus lining up now. It's on its way to Mexico City. It's an A320. One of our favorite colorful aircraft here. Coming around to runway 18 left for takeoff. As you see it now, it's headed north. It's going to make a U-turn to go south on the runway. Boy, 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 boy. Let's calm down a little bit. But yeah, I don't anticipate this is going to get any better. So I hope you've taken your Dramamine if you're watching this on a big screen. It is a windy day at DFW, and that is probably the understatement of St. Patrick's Day. But hey, we're here to have some fun. I think the hard part is going to be packing everything up. Keeping, when you start disconnecting things, they tend to go places you don't want them to go. Part of my problem currently is that I've got two phones attached to the top of the camera, which I think are serving as kind of sails to blow the camera around. I may have to detach one of them. See if that helps. Bill says the weather adds another level of reality to what's happening. Yeah, another level of reality. Well, I mean, this is live, and this is what people come to see, is live stuff, right? Okay, I'm putting my phone, which monitors your comments, on my table here. So since there's nothing else to look at, I'll show you what's going on over here. Now there we have our iPad, which provides our music, our sound mixer, and there on next to the table, next to the sound mixer, is the phone where I keep an eye on your comments, and underneath there is the battery, which is battening down that little folding table there. Yikes. Well, there's Terminal D. We're going to lock that down for a second. Oh, I'm happy to bring you a live broadcast, Carly, and everybody here. That's what you come for, right? Take this moment to remind you about our PayPal setup. It's paypal.me/Runway DFW. That is, if you choose to contribute to our cause, we'll accept a tip there, or buy us a cup of coffee, or help us with our streaming expenses. That would be most welcome. And there's our most current list of contributors, which I updated this morning after our broadcast this morning, which was windy, but not quite this windy. Oh, I didn't mean to put that one up, did I? No. That's the one I meant to put up. Limited visibility. Well, anyway, there's our PayPal address, and I thank you very much to all of you who have taken the time and the trouble to go over to paypal.me/Runway DFW and leave us a contribution for our efforts. I promise that the next time, I can almost guarantee that it won't be as windy next time we're here. Where's my microphone? Now we have an actual, wow, my hat is flying off my head. This is kind of amusing, actually. If you were to be here and see me, it would probably be more entertaining than these shaky pictures. That was an aircraft I will tell you about momentarily. I don't think I'll zoom in all the way on it because it would be too shaky. Pull down my... That was American Flight 1924, which was going to Hayden in Colorado. This flight's coming in from Denver. Let's see how the landing is in this crazy wind. You would think this would be the kind of weather we might see a go-round or two before the afternoon is done. We've got two American flights lined up, one to Las Vegas and one to Los Angeles. There they are. They take just a breather now while the winds have abated slightly. Tripod trying to lift off the ground by itself. Might have to register this tripod with the FAA before the day is out. Kid you, my friends. This is a struggle. So the flight we just saw was the one to Los Angeles. This is the one that's going out to Las Vegas. No, this is the one to Los Angeles. Sorry, last one was to Las Vegas. This is American Flight 2424, an Airbus 321. Takeoff here. Let's see if we can do any better with this one. You saw another airplane in the background lifting off from one of the east runways here at Dallas-Fort Worth. This is part 2 of our St. Patrick's Day Spectacular. Started this morning at 7:15 local time, and it was windy then, but a lot less windy, and so we didn't have quite as much turbulence. Vegas, the capital of the state. There's an airplane taking off over there. I'm going to take a picture of it now. That's pretty much all I can guarantee you now. Planes are, as soon as one gets to the end of the runway, the next one is ready to launch. The pilot's probably saying, "Get me out of this wind tunnel. Let me get up to 35,000 feet where it's nice and calm." Just tuning into our little presentation here. I hope you don't take this camera work as what you would typically see here. I'll tell you what, we're going to check out an Embraer 175 coming in from Brownsville in Texas, see how the winds are, how it's dealing with the winds as it comes in on Runway DFW. I think a smaller plane might have a little more trouble with the wind, but it looks like that had a fine touchdown. Next up is this American Airlines A319 off to Eagle, Colorado. It's flight 1870 on Runway DFW. Now if you are commenting, please zoom out a little bit so it's not quite as shaky. If you're commenting, it's hard for me to look at your comments right now because of the position I've had to put that phone in. So I apologize for that. But bear with us. It's a UPS flight 767 coming in from Portland, Oregon on Runway DFW. I feel like I had a shout because this is a bad gust. It's lifting the tripod off of its base, even with me holding it down. The funny thing is, I always enjoy watching streams like this from my living room on the big screen TV set. And I guess I should count my blessings that there's no precipitation associated with this wind event, at least not right now. We're going to watch much. American Airlines Flight 2759 coming in from San Antonio in Texas. It'll be an A320. If it hasn't been knocked out of the sky. My hat just blew off. It is tethered to me. I'm pulling it down on my head as far as it can go. Alright, let's see if we can find this flight coming in from San Antonio. Flight 641 is coming in from Denver. Planning to practice my technique this afternoon with the new tripod head that I was able to purchase thanks to your contributions to Runway DFW. But it's about all I can do is to hold the camera down now. That's the flight we saw arriving, the UPS flight we saw arriving earlier. And now we're going to see a flight we missed this morning. Japan Airlines Flight to Dallas from Narita. This is a Dreamliner. It's flight, I don't know, I can't see the flight number. It landed on a different runway than it normally does, on a runway diagonal to this on the west side, which we don't get a look at where we are. I'm struggling to put my hat back on as the camera has a mind of its own. So, yeah, so we get to see the plane we earlier on its way back to the Far East. Look at this. Oh, this is American Airlines Heritage Livery US Air. Have I seen that one before? I'm not sure. I'll have to get the flight details of that. Of course, Japan is kind of reeling from a fairly major, well, not a fairly major, a major earthquake yesterday. In the Fukushima region, a name which may be familiar to you, where the nuclear plant was heavily damaged by a previous earthquake. And I saw something on the news today that this big earthquake, I think it was 7.3 this week, may be a prelude to an even bigger one, some scientists believe. I certainly hope that is not the case. Oh boy. We have an American Airlines A319 flight 1818. It's on its way to Omaha, glinting in the midday sun on Runway DFW, where it's 12:43 local time, as you can see on flip clock 79. I think it's still working, not sure. Yeah, there it is. And Michelle RS has the idea. I haven't seen any planes that appear to be having a problem with landing today. Probably not zoom in any more than that. It just is too shaky. We've got a bunch of aircraft ready to take off here. Oh, it's just calmed down for a brief second. Flight 2861. No destination listed on Flight Radar 24. So take your pick. gust. Resulting in hat removal. There's American flight 2459 coming in from Los Angeles on runway DFW. Say we're not in Kansas anymore, but we may be there before this stream is over. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Glad you could join us on our second stream of the St. Patrick's Day holiday. That's not really a holiday, is it? Well, I guess it is for some people. I imagine it is in Ireland. Funny thing is, you know, we met just as I was driving back here for our second stream, I saw the perfect aircraft, which would have been nice to get a picture of. It was Eva Air Cargo, and of course, if you're familiar with Eva Air Cargo, they have a green and white livery. So that would have been a nice thumbnail for our show this afternoon. But alas, wasn't here for its arrival. I guess if we got real lucky, we might see it take off, but I think the turnaround on that flight is probably a little longer than the time we have available. We've got a Delta flight in the mix for the takeoffs, amongst all the American and American Eagle aircraft. There goes my hat, there goes my headphones. My microphone got unclipped in that latest blast. We've got an American Airlines Dreamliner, which is just lit up. It'll be headed to Tokyo. Hat. American Airlines flight from Vancouver, flight 1519 on runway DFW. See how it tackles the conditions here. No problems, I would say. That was the Tokyo flight there in the background as we were watching this American Eagle flight take off. say to somebody, turn off the wind, please. Just turn it off. My hat again. I can't even... The little connector on the hat, which tightens it, won't make it tight enough to deal with these winds. And if I'm correct, that'll be the Tokyo flight there. Having pulled out of Terminal D, International Terminal D. Making its way to the top of runway 18 left, where most of the planes take off. We saw some planes taking off from runway 18 right this morning. There's apparently some, I don't know if it was debris or just time to run a check of the conditions along runway 18 left. So we were getting arrivals and departures on runway 18 right, which I'm sure happens occasionally. I had not seen that personally since I've been coming out here on a regular basis back in November. There goes my, sorry, I had to reconfigure here because my camera or my phone that I use for radar snapped off its moorings and started to fall. It's a little more secure now. There's the Tokyo flight. Here's a little bitty business jet on its way. Tell, smaller aircraft like that don't need a lot of room to get off the mark. Okay, who's next? The Dreamliner still pointed to the north. It hasn't made the U-turn yet. So sorry. There's another case of my hat being lifted off my head. American Flight 2214 on its way to Palm Springs, California. Here comes an Aero Mexico Connect flight. I believe this is from Mexico City. Find out in a second. There's an Embraer E190 LR. And yes, it was coming in from Mexico City. still pointed nose to the north, but it looks like it's on the move, ready to make a U-turn. Let's see if we can catch that as soon as this plane takes off. There it goes. Okay. Dreamliner U-turn. And again, this is Flight 61 to Tokyo Narita. We just saw Japan Airlines Dreamliner a few minutes ago, headed in the same direction. As we've noted previously, these planes are now taking a little more southerly route, whereas they used to cross over part of Russian airspace on their way to and from. They now avoid that space because of the international situation. We have not had, I don't know if we've ever had, but we've not had in recent months any direct flights between DFW and Moscow. Aeroflot does not operate here. My best, folks, to keep this steady, but it is not working out too well. This is a flight to Oklahoma City. Where'd it go? Got a little ahead of me. Oklahoma City being the capital of Oklahoma, which is the state just to the north of Texas. States share a big border. And right as we reach the 1 o'clock hour locally, it looks like America's flight to Tokyo is about to commence. The winds have almost stopped. It's almost a gentle breeze right at this second. I didn't even notice that the mic that points to the runway has fallen down on the ground. Just in time for the takeoff. The southerly winds have resumed their gusting. And you can see by how long it takes to lift off that it's, of course, heavily laden with fuel for that long trans-Pacific journey. One of the longest flights out of DFW. Probably, I think, currently the flight to Sydney is the longest. That's a Qantas flight. Okay, let's see if we can take a little break here. Live from DFW International Airport, it's Runway DFW Live on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2022, just after 1 o'clock here in Texas. And we will be here probably for another, not quite a half hour, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'd like to say a big thank you to all of our contributors to the Runway DFW cause. They mean a lot to us. They help us stay on the air. And if you'd like to join them in our quest, just go to paypal.me/runwaydfw. Tip us with a cup of coffee or some couple dollars to add to our fund for internet expenses. It helps us a lot. And but I want you to know there's no obligation. No obligation whatsoever. But you can, we do invite you to subscribe to our channel. There's no cost whatsoever for subscribing to Runway DFW on YouTube. And that way you'll keep abreast of everything that we're doing to bring you live action from here. So, let me rest my voice for a second and we'll be right back. And we're back with more stuff. American Eagle Flight 3179 from, I can't read it. So how's that for professional broadcasting? I can't read it. Coming in from Santa Fe, New Mexico. They stayed immediately adjacent to Texas on the west side. We've got American Airlines A321. Destination Denver, flight 1321. Yeah, that was another gust, lifting our tripod off the ground. Hang on for a second, because I just realized but I didn't plug my computer into power, and that means we can go off the air at any second now. Alright. Okay, we are powered up. What did we get down to there? We only got down to 44%. Not too bad. Okay, let's see if we can catch up here. Thanks to all of you who are hanging out with us today. I know this is suboptimal conditions. The thing is, it looks deceivingly nice outside. It's sunny, it's kind of partly cloudy. It's a nice day. Boy, that wind. flight 2599 coming in from beautiful downtown Burbank. There's a random plane lifting off from the east side of DFW. You say, Walt, why would you choose to focus in on something so far away? I believe we've got flight 2609 American Airlines, an A321 on its way from here to San Antonio in Texas. I've left the tripod handle to just clamp down on the tripod itself. With us a little earlier, I explained that the whole tripod toppled as I was setting up in a violent gust. Here comes an American Eagle flight from Chihuahua in Mexico on Runway DFW. Did I say American Airlines? It's American Eagle, of course. Say that even though you can't really tell because of the wind, I'm very happy with the new tripod head, a fluid head that you guys who contribute to our channel helped me purchase. It replaces the kind of generic head that came with the tripod, and it's not as smooth as I would have liked. So I thank you to all of you who have contributed to our efforts in that way. BK says, excellent shots. I don't know that I'd agree with you in that regard. Tune in when we've got some better content. But yeah, well, we're doing our best. We are battening down the hatches, Street Glide. Don't you worry. Here's an American Eagle flight coming in from Austin in Texas, our state capital. Meanwhile, we've got another flight to San Antonio. This is American Flight 2609, for those of you keeping score. And it's an A321. And there's the hazy skyline of Dallas in the background. Double takeoff action there. Got a plane coming in from Ontario, California. It's an American Airlines plane, and that will be entering your field of view to the left. To the left, there it is. Flight 1534, an A321. Coming into land on runway 18 right on runway DFW. Let's take a peek over at the UPS cargo hub. I see, you probably can't see them all in that shot, but we've got 1, 2, 3 MD-11s and a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 aircraft. So UPS keeps busy over there. You're looking in the foreground at DFW Founders Plaza, which is a nice area from which to watch aircraft. And despite the windy day, we've got a number of plane spotters out here. There you see a young plane spotter in the foreground. Oh, speaking of UPS, well, let's watch this one come in from Los Cabos in Mexico. Touchdown. That was American Flight 1334. And here we have, is this a 300, an A300? Still working on my plane spotting skills. It hasn't lit up on the radar. There's its registration number. Can't tell you where that one is off to yet. No, I was wrong about that. That's a 767 on its way to Orlando. So will we get to see it taking off from this side of DFW Airport? Because there's an east and a west side. And usually the flights that are destined to the East Coast will go over to the west side of the airport. I'll go over to the east side of the airport, I'm sorry. Flight from San Francisco to an A321, flight 2904. Now arriving on runway 18 right. On a windy day at DFW. I say windy day, cue the wind. As I said, that's going to Orlando. So what it will do momentarily is make a turn to the left, and we'll see if it crosses over the west runways and goes over to the east side or not. I don't know. Between our morning broadcast and this one, we've seen almost as many UPS planes as we have American Airlines planes. And while I think they typically will operate a lot of flights at night to kind of get cargo in place by morning for trucks to go out and make deliveries. Yeah, they've got a lot of daytime flying as well. FedEx does have an operations center here on the north side, but on the northeast side of the airport, whereas we're on the northwest. And so we don't see, I don't know that I've ever seen a FedEx plane over on this side of the airport in my time here, although I think we had a commenter earlier who said that does happen occasionally, and I'm not surprised. So we'll see if this goes straight across, then it's headed over to the east side. If it jogs to the right, it'll lift off and head out from here. Say it's headed over the bridge to the east side of DFW Airport. Comes an American Eagle flight from Amarillo in Texas. West Texas. That's probably about an hour flight, I would say, maybe a little less. Let's see, 55 minutes. So, pretty good guess from your Runway DFW host. There goes that UPS flight over the bridge. In the meantime, we've got American Airlines Flight 2065. It's headed to Salt Lake City. It's a Boeing 737-823. Texas. It's American Eagle Flight 5827 on a windy runway, DFW. Here goes the flight to Salt Lake City, which we were looking at a bit earlier before it took off. Hang out here for a few more minutes. I see that our pal Brad Ward from Airline Videos Live, Brad is the executive producer there. He has joined us for a bit. Thank you, Brad, for checking in. One of these MD-11s is just clocked into the radar. As I said, we've got 3 of them here. I can see 2 of them that have their cargo doors open, so it may be this one right here that you can see with the West Tower in the background. let us examine the landing skills of this American Eagle flight crew coming in from another Texas Porto call. Corpus Christi. My wife and I made the flight to Corpus Christi once, but that was back in the days when American Eagle was still running propeller-driven aircraft. So that was an adventure. Here is American Flight 2886 on its way to Airline Videos Live territory in Los Angeles. It's an A321. For those of you who are just joining us, we are beset by very gusty winds today, which almost took us off the air before we started our afternoon broadcast, knocking our tripod over with the camera on it and with our two phones on it, knocking it to the ground. Nothing got broken, fortunately. Yellow bird over yonder. Just in case you want to make sure that there's other aircraft that fly in here besides American Airlines. It's a Spirit Airlines flight. This one's coming in from Seattle. American 1667, and here's the, if the wind cooperates and it's not, it's the Los Angeles bound aircraft. I know that a week ago that Kevin at Airline Videos Live was streaming from Phoenix, and he got caught up with a really bad wind situation. Now the nice thing here is that we don't have any sand or dust associated with this weather. It's just wind. Coming in from Denver, it's United Airlines 550, an A319 on Runway DFW. And as we're panning, the tripod is lifting off its legs. Everyone bearing with us under these less than ideal circumstances for broadcasting, at least unless you have a tripod that's weighed down by cement blocks, which I do not. That is Denver Air Connection. It's on its way to Clovis, New Mexico. Denver Air Connection 5411. They flew well, and this is an Embraer 145. They flew in here, and it was the thumbnail to one of our previous shows. If you look on our site, a Dornier Fairchild jet, which is very unusual. Not a lot of them in service. Oh, and here's we have our St. Patrick's Day plane now. It is one of the few that have a green livery. Let me see if I can lock this this down so I can get a nice steady picture of it. No, it's not going to work. Well, anyway. So anyway, the Dornier Fairchild jet had I looked it up later and had an interesting heritage. It was originally, not this one, but the one we saw before had high wings, the wings attached to the top of the fuselage, and it was a twin jet with the jets under the wings. And apparently it had originally been designed as a prop jet. And when Fairchild bought the company that went out of business in Germany, as a German company, they thought, oh, let's put some jets on there. So they did, and they sold a few of them, and it looks like Denver Air Connection has most of the ones that are left, or a lot of them. From Montrose. Here comes American Flight 2484. All right. And here goes the Denver Air Connection flight. Denver Air Connection does not fly between Dallas, Fort Worth, and Denver. And I'm going to say that this may be coming up over here, our last flight of the day. This is coming in from Eagle, Colorado. It's American Airlines flight 2841 it's an A319. Okay, probably not the most exciting final flight of the day, but gotta get back to my job. Oh, the wind is... I was gonna say the wind calmed down. Smooth till the last second there. Brad Ward is adding a lot of interesting information about that Dornier Fairchild plane. Worked for an airline that had all of them in the U.S. Fairchild and Dornier had big plans. You can see pictures of the 428 jet, 528, and 728. They didn't pan out. But the plane is almost literally the turboprop with jet engines slapped on. Same wing, same everything. So, you have a question about anything here at DFW or anything aviation related, somebody in our chat room is going to know the answer. So thanks, Brad. Well, let me see. Where are we now? We are to this point where we got to put this on our screen, and we've got to play this music. Okay, that's the music that means we're going away. We will be back this weekend. If memory serves, this may be the weekend that Thin Air arrives, but at DFW, I'll keep you posted on that. We'll put up a poster and our stream when we have that information locked down. But until then, it's been so great being with all of you. Thank you for those who have contributed to our PayPal account, and for everybody who's watched and contributed to our little chat room here. It's just a fun place to be. So we'll be back at you soon. And you know, as we always say here in Texas, I ran out of music, so I'm going to have to start over again. As we say here in Texas, happy contrails to you until we meet again. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.